A vending machine is designed to dispense 8 ounces of coffee into a cup. After a test that recorded the number of ounces of coffee in each of 1,000 cups dispensed by the vending machine, the 12 listed amounts in ounces were selected from the data. If the 1,000 recorded amounts have a mean of 8.1 ounces and a standard deviation of 0.3 ounces, how many of the 12 listed amounts are within 1.5 standard deviations of the mean? So I know people sometimes freak out when they see statistics questions, specifically standard deviation questions, because they don't appear that often, and most prep courses or textbooks don't go into it in that much detail, but they shouldn't go into it in that much detail because really you just need to know what standard deviation is conceptually for the Gmat. I don't think I've ever seen a question that required having to actually calculate standard deviation. Not that it wouldn't help to know how to do so, but it's not required as far as I can tell. And so what is standard deviation? It's just a measure of spread. It's a measure of how far on average each of the values in a set of numbers is from the mean of those values. So what do we know here? So we know our mean is 8.1 ounces, right? So that is right here in the middle of our bell curve. And then we know the standard deviation is 0.3 ounces. So that means one standard deviation to the right of our mean. So if each standard deviation is 0.3 ounces, one standard deviation to the right should be 8.4 ounces, and then one standard deviation to the left should be 7.8 ounces. And so two standard deviations to the right that should be 8.7, and then two standard deviations to the left should be 7.5. We want to know, of these values here, how many are within 1.5 standard deviations. So how do we get that? So 1.5 standard deviations should be right in the middle of our first and our second standard deviation. So 1.5 standard deviations to the right should be between right in the middle of 8.4 and 8.7. So that is what, 8.55. And then 1.5 standard deviations to the left should be right between 7.5 and 7.8. And so that should be what, 7.65. And so our question is asking how many of the numbers in our set are within this range, are between 7.65 and 8.55. And so now we just got to count. So our first number here is outside of our range, it looks like. Second one's good. This one looks good. 8.22 seems good. 7.83 is good. 8.25, good. 7.86, good. 8.3, good. 7.96, good. 8.36, good. 8.01, good. 8.53 is sort of at the tail end of our right side, but we are still good. And so it looks like 11 out of our 12 values are in the range. E is our answer. No calculations of standard deviation necessary.